to Unbiased and On the Fence. I'm Shane. Thank you so much. And we're doing wild stuff today. I'm doing my cosmic family look because we have Gosia with us. What's up, Gosia? How are you doing?
Hi, how are you, Shane? Thank you very much for the invitation. I know it took me a while to respond, but I had you there pending. I was really excited to come because I have to say, and I have to say this to my audience, that Shane was the first ever channel and a person who interviewed me in the English world, and
Yeah.
I think in both Spanish and English, the first ever. That was like 4 years ago or so. So thanks again for inviting me.
You're so very welcome, and I'm so honored to have been the first one. And you really put yourself out there doing it in English as well, which isn't your native tongue, and you did a great job. I was just actually revisiting that, and a lot of the things I thought I needed to bring up here, we already talked about 4 years ago. You know, as far as like how you have to look at the information with different perspectives, and that's really come out even more over the years. You know that the information, first off, these aren't deities, they're people just like us,
Yes.
right? And the more we can see them that way, and the more that we can sort of begin to imagine living a life where we can interact with them. And I want to encourage everyone today to sort of daydream about that. Daydream about what it'd be like to meet some of our star family and put it into that collective consciousness that they're just people. They're interesting people with interesting information, and it would be so great to have a world, a sci-fi type of world, which my world has gotten so sci-fi since I met you, Gosia. I must admit. But you know, it's like we're going into this new realm of just a new age, not in the sense of new age, but you know, a new era, if you will.
Yes. And hey, what about your hair? I have to comment on that.
Yeah,
Uh,
I broke out the mohawk today for, you know, and I got my space age looking shirt on and stuff, you know, for the occasion. And you got your hair all wild. It looks great.
yeah. Thank you, thank you. I watched some of your videos. Well, parts of the videos just recently. I was showing it to Matthias, and you had a different haircut, and now I love this. This is cool. This is a surprise for everybody who knows you for sure.
Right, exactly. Yeah, first time with the mohawk. So I've been without my hat before, but not with the mohawk looking. I got purple tips on there. Actually, all the purple's just about grown out now, but I love purple, you know. But it's like my antenna, right?
Yeah. I used to do that too. I used to, dye it purple at the ends or blue or something. I like to play with my hair, which
Yeah, me
my
too.
hair doesn't always and appreciate that, actually, the
Yeah,
health of my hair.
yeah. I always love that you change your look. You've changed your look over the years. You know what I mean? It's really cool.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Do you want me to maybe tell your people that don't know me a little bit about what are we talking about? Because you jumped straight into describing them as our friends and cool friends, and that they are people, not
Right.
deities. Maybe your audience is wondering, like,
Like, what the
who
heck are
are
you
you?
talking about? And
Yeah.
I'll say right now that I did link the original interview where we went into
Yes, I
depth
saw it.
about all of that, so they can go and watch that. But yeah, we should definitely touch on that so people have an idea of who you even are. So thank you, Gosha.
Well, just to say in a few sentences, we have been in communication with the Taygetan Pleiadians who are in the orbit of the Earth, and not wait, Taygetan Pleiadians, and also an offshoot of the Taygetan race, which we call Swaruunian race. Our followers know what we are talking about. And we have been in communication with them since 2017, on and off, here and there, with different crew members. And it is a written live communication through the internet. This is not a channel information. This is very important. I always have to state this because people think it's something that comes out of me, comes out of Robert, who is my work partner in this. He's doing this in Spanish. I'm doing this in Spanish and English. My YouTube channel in English is Cosmic Agency, where you can see over 400 videos done with the information coming directly from them, word by word, exactly what it is that they said and what they had to say on a wild variety of topics. Okay, so this is not about channel information. This is not about, which, by the way, I don't have anything against the channel information. It is a real phenomenon. It exists, but it has its dangers and pitfalls and traps, and that's what they are trying to avoid. They want to just give the information directly without any interpretation coming from my own mind. And So that's that cosmic agency. That's in English, and Agencia Cósmica in Spanish. And if you know Spanish, go to Despejando Enigmas. Also, that's where Robert also makes these videos, because we have this experience together. So it's been 5 years. I made an interview with you about 4 years ago when I was just beginning, and I remember I was very nervous.
You couldn't tell. You did great.
Yeah. Actually, you're right. I must say, I watched a little bit of that interview just a few days ago, and I came across pretty confident. I don't know where I got that, but I was nervous inside. I know, because it was my first interview. So Taygetan Pleiadians are not the only extraterrestrial race who is in communication with humans in general. There are different types of communications, and they are not the only ones out there. There are just so much traffic out there, so much extraterrestrial traffic and extraterrestrial presence everywhere, off Earth and on Earth. On Earth, they are actually walking Earth, human form, of course, because if they are like Arcturians or something, they wouldn't be able to pass as humans. But many of these humanoid extraterrestrials who look like us walk on Earth. They mingle with people. They come here on different tasks, different missions. And yeah, like you said, they are not deities. They don't want that. They don't want to be viewed as that. It's super important to them that this doesn't happen, because if it does happen, that would mean we are not ready to be with them as this interstellar race. So they are people, physical beings, and I could go on and on, so maybe I will stop at this point for any comments and questions.
Absolutely. So yeah, it's very exciting to really go through all of the information, and I've really been going through. You've got, of course, I love the metaphysical, spiritual stuff, because I think it's so helpful at this time for so many people that just don't understand. But that's like from a higher perspective. A lot of that you have to like really take a step back and view things from a higher perspective, because it doesn't even make sense sometimes. And sometimes it'll seem like the information's contradictory when it's not, because from one level, something might be something you need to worry about, right?
Yes.
Because you're kind of in the game. It's like maybe if you're playing a board game like Monopoly or something, right? There's things
Yes.
within that game that you need to be
Yeah.
aware of, but all in all, it's just the game within there. And we all chose to be here at this time, and I think that's a super important part of really being okay with being here now and understanding this is really an adventure, like really getting over the limitations we've clothed ourselves in. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, and like you said, this is an important point as well, that there's not just, and it's something that they are teaching us with that as well, there isn't just one way or one perspective from which to look at things. Because if you stick to just one perspective, then once we bring in another perspective, that will seem contradictory, and it's not. If you are describing an elephant, here you are describing a head, here you're describing a tail, it will be something different, but it's still an elephant. Or for example, we made a topic on free will, and depending on what level you are looking at, you do have a free will. But then if you look at from another perspective, from a more expanded, bigger perspective, everything is already there.
Right.
So how is it that we do have a free will at the same time? Because it all depends on the perspective. So as they are in a let's call it, they are people, but they see more of those perspectives. Here in general, just generalizing, in 3D we have, which 3D, they don't like that term either anymore. We have this kind of a one lateral, one side perspective on things, and very linear and etc. But they have a bigger panorama of things. They have a different, wider vision of reality. So they can see things from these numerous perspectives. And sometimes they say this, like for example, topic of the Federation. That's a huge topic too, controversial. From one perspective, they could be viewed as regressive, and we could explain why. And from another perspective, they are not. And we go into all these topics in our videos, explaining this from different levels. So you have to train yourself to get out of this just one vision, tunneled vision, of seeing things just in one way, black and white. That's it.
It's just another way that we limit ourselves, isn't it, when we do that? It's just adding another limitation to how we view the world, instead of being open to seeing things from different perspectives. Because like you said, it can all be the elephant, but people are going to describe it different differently depending on where they're examining it or observing it. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's a really good point. So with that, I think that's a great segue into one of the huge topics now that you know that about like soul traps or a prison planet, because a lot of people put things in that context and it's just not a very helpful concept. Even if we were actually in a prison, it wouldn't be helpful to think of yourself as being in a prison. So either way, it's not a helpful concept. But in this way that we're looking at it, as the information's come through, it's the idea that we plant that holds us in a prison, if you will, or in a trap. And it's like they don't trap us like bars on a cell in a jail. They trap us with our attention, like with the
Exactly.
TV or with all these distractions that come at us. So I really like to speak to that, just so people, just because if we plant that seed that like you're not in a prison right now, you're free, and the only
Yeah.
limitations you have are in yourself and your own ideas will like break you free of that so-called prison, right?
Yes, it's one of the it's one of the concepts that we first discussed a long time ago, about how everything is just ideas, and the only thing that limits you is the idea that you are limited. And with that, this includes the idea of soul traps and prison planet, etc. I have to say that I really almost get annoyed when I see comments about being here as a prison planet. Um, and with that, I don't want to say, okay, I do accept that there are different perspectives on things, and you can view it that way, that it is a prison planet. But I really get annoyed because I know that from the higher level, everything and every one of us here is because we chose to be here, and they explained this in detail to us, how the idea of soul traps is actually not accurate, or perhaps there could be some sort of manipulations going on some level. But it's not that they are forcing us to be here against our will. They might manipulate us, and like you said, manipulate our ideas and our perceptions and our decisions, like for example the ideas of karmas and sin and all that, something we have to repair. They might try to convince us to come back here, to circle back to this experience. But in the end, it's us who decides and who says, yes, okay, I'm going to have to do that, as you say, because we somewhere along the way, and this is the trap of this whole experience, but only in that way, somewhere along the way, we forgot that we are this totally free, sovereign being that decides our own path. And we delegated our power to all these different external forces, believing that they do have some sort of a power over us. So this is how this planet has become a sort of a prison trap for the souls, but not because there's someone there literally sitting, some kind of a demon with a pitchfork sitting and like pushing you back, or some sort of a trap, like the people talk about the some kind of a like a real trap for the souls, where they catch souls.
Right.
And no, they catch souls by catching your attention.
Yep.
By catching your attention, by catching your perception, by catching your ideas and your beliefs. And they have had a very long time to work on that. This has been going on for centuries, shaping our beliefs and programming us to believe certain things. And this is where we then give those beliefs our attention and validity. And that's where the trap is. But it's because we gave them the permission to catch our attention.
We consented to it, basically.
We consented to that.
Yeah.
So the whole idea is for the Svarus, who are, well, Svaru of Era is the first is the first Taygetan we talked to, and then Aneka, and then there are several others. So one of the main lessons for us here is to break free of those limiting thoughts of giving our power to all these different ideas like soul traps and prison planet. Because what is a prison? It means you are there behind bars and you can't get out. There's no key. You don't have a key. But the thing is, you do have key. It's in you. It's in your mind.
Right.
So you just have to unlock that and believe, first of all, that you are the key. Because as soon as I just suffer so much. Well, okay, I exaggerate. I don't suffer so much. I just become sad when I see people say these things like, oh, this is a prison planet, because that's where I see that they are trapping themselves. They are
Right.
trapping their own being. I'm like, no, please, you are free. Can't you see that? So that's why it's sad for me. It's not that it annoys me because someone believes something different than I. It's just because I know what these souls are. They are fragments of the soul. They are just eternal free beings. And they have always been that way, and they will always be that way. So when they say statements like that, they are just limiting themselves, and it pains me inside. I don't know why, but
I'm the
it
same
does.
way. That's why I wanted to bring it up, because it's like, if you can get one person to just consider, like, well, maybe I'm not in a prison, and what can I do now, and how free am I? Just that consideration will just unlock people with so many more things they could be experiencing, you know? And
Exactly.
so we're just limited by whatever our ideas are all the way through, you know? And
Yeah.
it just unfolds. So, how has this been for you, like learning this information and just life in general?
Before I enter that, I just want to comment one more thing,
Sure.
because because we keep saying yes, we are free and this that, but I would like to maybe make it a bit more practical for people. Like for example, what does it mean? It means that, for example, if you die, if you get out of this body, they told us that that what shaped us in this lifetime, our ideas and beliefs, we carry some of that into the afterlife. Yes, our vision expands, we have a broader view, we maybe get some memories back, etc. But still, what we are composed of as a spirit, as a soul, is ideas. So whatever we defined us as us during the lifetime, we carry that beyond life when we die. So in a way, we take those matrix ideas with us. That means that if you believe you are in a prison planet, someone on the other side will take advantage of that idea that you carry inside. That's why it's very important to reprogram that in life
Mm-hmm.
right now. Let go of all these ideas, and then when you cross over, nothing can manipulate you. Be aware of your own sorry, I'm getting confused with my own words sometimes. Be aware of your own freedom when you die, and don't let yourself be manipulated by any other entity, because yes, some entities might appear and might try to manipulate you and convince you whatever, but no, don't give them any power. You can freely go to wherever you want to go, which means you can choose to reincarnate outside Earth. You don't have to circle back. You don't have to pay anything. You don't have to feel like you have to repair errors and whatever you have done. Hey, you can free will here if you want to, but that's the point. If you want to, no one can force you and manipulate to do that. So if you feel you want to repair something, that's fine. That's your path. You can do that, but you don't have to. And then you can, and if you don't want to, choose to go somewhere else. Don't come back here, because this place is difficult. It is a wonderful place. This is also one of these concepts where different perspectives can be viewed
Oh,
on
yeah.
what life experience on Earth is like.
Mm-hmm.
It could be viewed as a wonderful place, full of contrasts and full of rich experiences, blah blah, all that. Yes, it's true, but also it's difficult, and it could be a trap. But again, because of your own choosing, you falling into those limiting ideas. So that's why reprogramming of that during the lifetime is important, because this way you will be free after you transcend. So that's the comment on that. And so what did you ask about my life? Something?
Yeah, and that's very good. Yeah, like how have you begun to incorporate this information into your own life? Because I know when I started this, I kind of had that feeling like we're trapped here. I'm not from this planet. I hate it here, and all of that, all of those ideas are just not helpful to a starseed. And so I just wanted to know, like, how much you've grown from the information, that you've gotten.
I think that when I began this, I already had certain seeds in me that this knowledge just expanded. It wasn't like I was changed 100% or 180 degree from something that I believed before, and now I grew into something else. I think I was already feeling all this. That's
Mm-hmm.
why it's so all this knowledge is so me. At the
Right.
same time, it has always been, because it's something that I always carried within myself in my own revelations, etc. However, of course, Yashizbaru, who is another main contact for us, and others, of course, they have added so many more very complex metaphysical concepts. So it expanded my understanding of reality, of what the soul, what the mind, what the consciousness is, so much. Things I haven't considered before. Like I said, I had the seed; it was there, but they like have expanded these seeds in so many directions. Like for example, I'll give you an example. Like for example, when they are talking to us about different the fragmentation of the soul. How, for example, the soul. Okay, you think the soul is just one soul, and then you reincarnate, and that's just your future, your past. It's like continues on a line. But it's actually your soul as a signal of the source can fracture into so many different branches, and it's like a tree, which means that 10 different people could actually have the same past. They could have branched off of the same root, of the same branch, bigger branch of the tree, and this can be explained in a different ways. Like for example, many people say, "Oh, I was Cleopatra," for example. So just as example, Cleopatra. So I always imagined before that, okay, so there can only be one person that had to be Cleopatra. Just it goes like one. But it actually doesn't work like that, because as they explained to us, multiple people could have memory of being a certain a certain character in the past, because that person, that soul, it could branch off into different variants, not to mention even timelines. I'm not even bringing different timelines here, just within the same one, let's call it that way. It can branch off into a different variance of itself based on different ideas it wants to experience for itself. So multiple people could have been actually the same character in the past, and so just because someone has memories of being someone, it doesn't invalidate the other person having the same memories, because it's all in the field anyway, and the memories cross over, because actually in the end, in the beginning of it all, even there was no beginning, we are just one person.
Right. Yeah. If you follow the branches back far enough,
Yeah,
it's always going to go back to the tree of one that we all are. Right.
that's my point. That's why it's not so simplistic and linear as we perceive it to be. Like, I was this in the past, and then I was that in the past. Multiple people could have been that in the past, and like you said, in the end, we are just one. This is just all one being experiencing itself through all these different people and expression. There is no you and me. It's just one.
Right. So have you do you meditate, or do you experience that oneness in meditation or anything like that?
I don't meditate as much as I would like.
Hmm.
I would admit that, because I have so much work to do, and I feel like I want to dedicate my time to that more. Even though I do realize that it's some sort of an excuse, because I could find like 15 minutes at least, and this could even help me to process the information better, so that maybe I can explain it even better to the people. But I don't know. I just fall back into just making videos. I feel like this is what I'm here to do, and I feel like I will have times, in the future at some point, to meditate and work on myself. Now I have this anxiety to share all this information, and so much is accumulating always, and I'm never caught up with what I have to do. And this creates some sort of like a anxious feeling in me. I have to just keep going and keep going. So I don't meditate as much as I would like. I do experience that oneness, but it's more like I don't have to meditate to experience that. I could, for example, just walk with my dog somewhere in the forest, listening to some sort of music. That actually happens a lot to me.
Oh, well, that's a
Walking.
perfect way. Yeah. You don't actually
Yeah.
have to sit quietly. You can just be in nature, or, you also do music and other things like
Used,
used to. Right. So you have
used
a history of doing music. What other sorts of things? Do you ever make
I
time
used
for
to
that
do
anymore?
music. And I remember, I think you knew some of that music
Right.
in that. Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
that was a long time ago. And that was my passion that I discovered, making music just using a computer software program. It was really cool.
Yeah.
But now I really don't have time. I really don't have time for anything. So, um, well, and when I say that I don't have time, I do. But my point is, I want to dedicate that time to making videos. That's what I want my time to go.
Well, we thank you
So
for that. We you know what I mean? Because it's like so often we can kind of get caught up in that service to self service and to others thing where we actually get ran over and people take advantage of us, you know. But it really is a service to others thing, what you're doing right now, like getting this information out. And you're reaping the benefits of it as you learn and grow through it too. And I'm so thankful that you have that desire, that drive that keeps you going because you have to. You would have never been able to put out all this information if you didn't have a passion for it. You know what I mean?
yes, yes. And you know what? In a way, I must say that yes, it's a service to others, but I do feel like it's a service to myself as well. I feel like I'm honoring some sort of an inner commitment that I have somewhere on some kind of a higher level. It's some kind of like a sacred thing for me that I am fulfilling. I wouldn't be myself if I couldn't do this. So I am doing this for others, but at the same time, and it's not contradictory, I am being myself. So I am actually doing service to myself. I'm allowing myself to be myself
Right.
through that work for others.
Yeah.
It's hard to explain this.
No, and then there's the whole energetic aspect of it, you know, and the consciousness aspect of it. So as you learn and incorporate these things into your own consciousness, it does feed out, as all of us do. That's what's so helpful that you're sharing this with all of us, because as we all begin to grasp this, it creates, we're like holding space for others who, you know, might want to like open their mind up to other things. And there's this place we've already created within the consciousness. So what I've noticed is that people seem to get it much quicker now. You know, it doesn't take like years and years. Like I've got family members that like I didn't talk about religion and things like that too, but they've come so far in the last year that they're open. You know, they've really been unlocked from a lot of the religious programming and limitations that you know many of us suffered from. You know, I don't think you had to go through that, but a lot of us had to go through that sort of getting out of the religious programming that we were
Oh, I
raised
did.
under. Oh, you did too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that can be kind of
Yeah.
tough.
Yeah, I was, of course. No, it wasn't that for me because I was slowly getting out of it. I was Catholic in Poland, and my whole family still is. And then I was kind of slowly branching off into other Christian movements. I was even like studying with Jehovah Witnesses, with
Hmm.
Mormons, with other evangelical, you know, whatever, anything was, and it was very interesting. And then slowly I was like peeking out of the Christian stuff. But yeah, maybe you are right. People are getting it faster nowadays. I don't know for sure because, to be honest, I don't talk to that many people. But just recently, Matthias's brother was here, and he was also very like into religion before, and also in the last year he has been more open to all these spiritual metaphysical ideas. So I don't know, maybe yeah, we are feeding this collective unconscious field, and we are, you know, it's contagious.
Yeah,
And
it
I
really
think
is.
that's the concept here, to be feeding the human collective. Even though you don't even have to talk to your neighbor or to everybody, you know, like on some kind of a mission. You can, of course, but just injecting the human general collective frequency with these ideas, with this information, with these interstellar metaphysical concepts, it's already doing something. You know, it's creating a wave, I think, in the etheric field, which will then manifest on the physical. It has to.
Absolutely. So, what about? Do you have any family members that sort of? Does everybody just think you're weird, or do you have anybody that's
Too
sort of?
much. No, my family is very small, very tiny. It's just my mom, and then my brother, who basically, yeah, no,
They're not
no,
into anything, any of
no,
your stuff.
no, no. And then my cousin, and my family is super small. Like seriously, it's just 4 or 5 people, and that's it. And I don't talk to anybody there about this. I barely talk to them in general. I just talk to my mom, and she might be open here and there. I actually send her some Polish information, because actually there's been some Polish action with the translations happening. There's 2 new Polish channels who are translating the information, and for the first time now, my mom can actually know what it is that I'm talking about, that I'm rambling about in all these
Oh,
videos.
wow.
So no, the family, whatever. But I have been living outside of my family for like 22 years, so it doesn't really matter to me if they follow or they believe or not. I don't have this need to be talking about this stuff with people in real life, let's call it.
Hmm.
If the online life is not real, it is still real. But I
Right.
mean, I talk to people online, but I don't talk to people outside about this much.
Well, that makes sense because even the information that came through, I think with Swadaroo in the beginning was that you're not going to convince anyone that's not going to be convinced. It's like either you know it and they'll resonate with the information, but if someone's like bound to take a path, you can't really change that. They have to change it, and we really can't interfere. But it's almost liberating to know that it's not our responsibility to change people,
Yes.
you know,
Yeah.
and so that kind of takes the weight off. It's almost like we're on this roller coaster
Yes.
with someone and we're like, just relax, it's going to be fine. And that's really our job. We can't really convince them. It's, you know, they're going to be on the roller coaster. We can help them to relax a little bit and enjoy the ride a little bit more, but at the end of the day, we're all on our path, all on our journey, right?
And that's why actually I'm quite at peace doing this work, because many people, including actually them on the ship in the last years, with the situation that you know what situation happened in the last 2 years, they were very frustrated with the humanity. And they were very angry almost at the humanity and humans following, falling into the trap and being obedient. And they were getting very, 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 they were taking it very personally, to the point that they were getting sick, actually. And I remember that, even though, like I told you, I do this and I feel this anxiety to do this and I have to make videos. On the other hand, I feel really at peace with what is going to happen or not going to happen with the humanity, because I do know that this is not my responsibility, like you said. What each individual does with this information or doesn't do with this information, if they let that information speak to them or not. Like, I feel my responsibility is to transmit this. Yes, that far I feel like it's my responsibility somehow, even though it's still some self-imposed
Right.
probably, but it's there. It's this sense of responsibility. Okay, probably has to do with some sort of past incarnations. I don't know exactly,
Or maybe like
but
a mission built into your blueprint or
yeah,
something, because it seems like you have that drive to just keep going and get it out there,
yeah.
and it's like you never tire, you know.
It's too deep, for that just to be some random hobby. I know that it has a deep reason why I'm doing this, and not just me, because there are more people in this group.
Oh,
Robert is
absolutely.
one of those, for example, and also even like them themselves,
Hmm.
Yaski and Zvarus, why, and Aneka, why this drive to continue to do this. So for sure, there is some sort of a commitment on some level, whether it's from the past incarnation or it goes even extends into the higher realms on a level of the soul
Hmm.
commitments.
Right.
So my point here is going back to my point. Even though I do feel this inner commitment and responsibility, but that's where it ends. Then what humans do with what I do, with what I feel my responsibility is to transmit, then this is where my responsibility ends. I don't have a control over that. I only do and focus on what I feel my control is. And this is make videos. This is what I can control, transmit. Then it's up to you people to take this or do whatever you want with this.
Absolutely. And they even
And
say that it's like, yeah, they say control what's in your little corner, right? Because you can't
yes,
control everything. And I always use the term your sphere of influence. It's like so many things are out of our control, and they say don't be so focused on things that are out of control, out of your control that you can't affect, because there's so many things within your control that you can affect. And it's like it can be the small things that we do, you know, that make a huge difference. And we can be so focused on something we can't change that we ignore things we can change right in our own very reality, in our own life, you know.
and you can change a lot. This is another topic here. Some people are feeling, so limited in what they can change.
Mm-hmm.
And that's also a big topic, why that could be psychologically, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But there are a lot of things you can change and affect and influence, and just be brave about it. Take risks and follow your energy. And my energy is taking me here to make these videos and share with people. And that's it. But like you said, it's liberating to know that what happens then, it's not in your field of responsibility. So in a way, I do care what happens to the humanity. Mm-hmm. I do, of course, but in a way also I don't. And it's kind of like this Buddhist idea of detachment, Right. You are doing what you are doing, but you are detached from the result. And that's what I feel about this. I know I have to do this. Like, my job is to do this, and I'm at peace with myself. I have fulfilled my path, but then I am detached from the result. I'm not doing this for the results, really. It's not the results that are driving me. What is driving me is fulfilling what I feel is right for me. And that's why I told you in the beginning that it is a service to others, but in a way, it is very deeply also service to myself, to my own soul.
Right. That's a very good way of looking at it. But we want to thank you and all of the people that's been bringing this through, because I know it's a lot here on Earth and up on the Toleka ship. Is that what it's called? Toleka?
Yes.
Right.
Toleka.
I wonder if you can bring some clarity to the people that you've grown to have wonderful relationships on the Toleka crew, because I followed, I guess in the beginning it was Swaru and Athena, but at some point I kind of lost track, and I know one of the original Swaru, did she pass away and then came back?
Yeah, first we had the contact with the Swaru, and she was with us for a few years, and then she passed away. We had I have a very important video where it's explained how this happened. Mm-hmm. And this happened a little bit after Yaski Swaru, who is now she's going to be 11-year-old, came in the picture, came in the scene. You have to know they are time travelers. And the time travel and technology of time travel is explained in our videos. You can watch that. And they also skip timelines, mm-hmm. because that's basically what time traveling is. So here we have different Svarus from the so-called Svaru lines, and none of them is actually from the same line. They kind of appeared in the picture from a different moment. So yeah, maybe it's a bit difficult to follow if you don't follow every video. But first there was Swaru. She passed away, but she transcended in a bit different way than a normal death as we understand it. And then we also had contact with Aneka, who unfortunately also passed away. That was in last November.
Oh, okay.
And it's explained in our channel what happened exactly. And then Yaski Swaru appeared in the scene in 2000, and she is with us until now. She is our main contact right now. So she's a girl. She's around 11 years old. However, she's also of the Swaru line, and she has a memory of all different Svarus in the past, which means that she's not just a girl. She has a memory and wisdom and information and knowledge of all these different experiences that she has accumulated as different Svarus in the past. Okay, that we also talked to Athena Swaru, who is a bit older, and then I have to mention this. There's also Minerva, so-called Minerva Mari Swaru, who, I don't know if you know, if you don't, you have to check it out, who just opened 2 months ago her own YouTube channel. And it's called Swaru Oficial, but official kind of like from Spanish with one F, the YouTube channel. And she makes these videos herself from the ship directly.
Oh, wow.
So in Spanish and English, yeah, because she's kind of new. Well, she came here about a year ago or so, maybe a bit more, and she got excited about doing this herself. All these Svarus, and not just Svarus, have this passion to transmit information, and they are very, very, very enthusiastic about this. So on that channel, if anybody can type that in the chat, that'll be cool. You can follow her, and this is done by her. So all the images, the fonts, music or no music, all the information she writes herself, and she publishes a video almost every day. One day in English, the other one in Spanish, and they are not too long, so they are like you can watch it one a day, and yeah.
I'm
So
glad you told me about that because when I went to your channel, I saw it was linked as a featured channel underneath your channel. So
yes,
if someone didn't put it in the chat, that's one way you can go over to Cosmic Agency and subscribe. And then under that, you can see there's featured channels. And one of them was, I didn't know it was done by her directly. Swaru Marie, did you say? Marie?
Maris Varu, yes, Minerva. Also, there is a question in the chat. If Gosia is talking, who is behind Cosmic Agency talking here? I don't know if I understand the question correctly, but yeah, it's what do you think the question here is?
That's me.
No, if Gosia
I think
is
they're being a joke. Let's see.
no. Okay, I understand. No, okay. Cosmic Agency, who is responding in the chat, that's Matthias.
Oh, I got you in the chat. I got you.
That's
Yeah, I
not
guess
me.
they can tell you're not typing away there. I see.
Yeah, exactly. It's because people think it's Gosia. It's Matthias. He has access to my account.
Oh,
Okay,
perfect. Because I've already got you've got the wrench from 4 years ago. Perfect. So he's able to put the link in there. Thank you, Matthias.
yeah, thanks for the link. So you go to that channel because additionally to my channel in English, where I already have about 400 videos, Mari is publishing her own videos. She's about 15 years old, and it's cool.
That's
So
really
a lot
cool.
of things happening, a lot of disclosure happening. A lot of things.
Yeah, and one thing that I think I can remind the viewers if they hadn't heard, or let them know if they haven't, is that the information coming through is. Hang on a second here. Can you guys still hear me? Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, my
Yes.
screen just changed here. I lost my train of thought there. What were we talking about?
We were talking about
Oh. Right. Okay. So the information is not channeled, and the reason that they're able to do it this way now is because technology wasn't available 100 years ago. They couldn't contact. Channeling was the only way at one point. But one of your older videos, you were explaining how as our technology grows, it increases the ways they're able to contact us. So that's why they're able to contact you unfiltered without all of the distortions of the mind when we do channeling, because we all know that we can sort of bias the information a little bit as we're channeling things through. So that's what I love about your information, is that it's directly sent to you. There's no filtering involved with it. So you're saying that this other channel is just her from the ship posting directly on
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yes, confirmed. Because in the beginning, it was even a surprise to us. We didn't know that they were like planning this, that she was planning this. It was a surprise. And then she published a video, and people were asking like, who is this? Because there are a lot of fake contact. There are a lot of fake extraterrestrials as well. Mm-hmm. Yes, it's true, they are on Earth and they are here and mingling and talking and whatever. Not Taygetans necessarily. No, they don't anymore. But I'm talking about other races. But there are also a lot of fake ones. So, we are explaining to people that they are people, that they interact or interacted through social media, suddenly all these different profiles appeared, and accounts and YouTube channels. So most of them are fake. So that's why when Mari's channel appeared, people were like, already like, what is this? Another fake? And we confirmed that no, this is it. This is her. This is this one. This one is the only one, and it's the first. Actually, it's the first YouTube channel officially coming from Toleka crew ever.
Wow, that's amazing. So now I've got to go check all of that out. And so that's in Spanish and English, huh?
Spanish and English. They have to say the voice is not hers because they are still not allowed to use their own voice.
Right. No pictures or voice or video or anything, right?
Pictures are allowed. We share pictures already.
Are those actually the pictures that we see?
Yeah, some of them are a bit filtered. They have to have some filters here and there because they officially they're not allowed through because of the federation, but they are trying to sneak in things little by little. But they have to like put certain filters on the photos so it doesn't get picked up by the federation censorship.
I understand. That makes sense.
Long story there. So in the photos, that's them. However, sometimes something may be a bit different, like an eye, color might be a bit off or something, because some filters have been applied.
Right.
But the voice is generated by the software. That's how they could get around it.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, so the picture people we see in the picture, we wouldn't run into them at the store. It's not like those are models that are a picture of a model you use to kind of represent Swaru and all of them. Those are actually pictures of them that's sort of been photoshopped a little bit to protect their identity, but it's actually them. I didn't know that.
Their identity, and also, like I said, it's for the Federation censorship. Because the AI of the Federation, the one that provides the internet to the races, blah blah. I don't even know the details exactly, because it doesn't. I don't retain it. It's not that they didn't tell us. I don't retain it myself.
Right.
It's for that. It's for that reason. And before, we used to just use illustrations. Illustrations based on their photos. But yeah.
That's really
exciting.
Cool. So since the last time you came on, and you found out that you're actually in one of these immersion pods, I think they call it, right?
Yes.
And even some of us are. So can we talk about that a little bit and how that made you feel? And because I've often thought, I'm like, people want to get out of here, but I thought, what if I woke up out of one of those pods and I was like stuck on a ship, and I'm thinking, man, I want to go back to Earth where I can roam free and do what I want. So it's like, be careful what you wish for, right? You might pop out somewhere else that isn't as fun as it is here.
To be honest, that wasn't a surprise to me. It was like a confirmation of something that I have always felt. And it's not that I felt I am in the immersion. I didn't know anything about it before. No, not that. I mean that I felt, and this for many years, that my real self is not here. Like I'm projecting myself from some other place, like in the Matrix movie, where they are putting their cables, whatever, on their head, and they're like going to the Matrix. When I saw that movie, those scenes in that movie, in the Matrix, it was like, I feel this, like this is happening to me. I don't know how, I don't know what. And this was even before I had this whole experience with them. So it didn't make sense to me, like, logically, because I didn't know about the immersion programs, but I had the feeling like I'm not really here. Like I'm actually somewhere else on some kind of a chair or pod or whatever. And I'm projecting my being into here, to the avatar. So when this got confirmed, I wasn't surprised. I was just confirmed. Like, this was a relief to me, because now I understood my feelings. Like, okay, now this makes sense. This actually is real. This technology exists. It's happening. So the immersion technology, for just in the one sentence, for those who don't know, is a technology of transferring your consciousness signal in the body that you have right there. It could be on a ship or on the planet. Actually, my pod is back in Taygetan right now. It was on a ship, but it was sent back. All the pods right now are back in Taygetan, which distance doesn't matter, because there is no distance in the ether and for the consciousness. It doesn't matter if I can have a pod in my bathroom, or I can have a pod 440 light years away, and the connection with the pod still will be the same, accurate, unbroken. So you rewire that consciousness into the previously chosen avatar human body on Earth, which could be just a program, because yes, it exists. There are Matrix people who are just walking organic portals. So you could wire your signal into that, or you could have some sort of an agreement with a previous soul. That's when the walk-in experience comes in. So you walk in, someone walks out, whatever. We have a very detailed description about the immersion technology. Detailed, I mean, like technically explained everything, what happens in the immersion technology. That's on our channel, which, by the way, if you are interested in any of these topics, go to the website swaru.org, if anybody can put that in there. And we have all the transcripts of the videos. So you don't have to watch the videos. 400 videos, that's too much. You can just look at the transcripts. Everything is there in PDF files for free for you to read. You can do the search, immersion pods, for example, and then those transcripts will come up, okay?
Perfect.
So yeah, and like you said, many of us are in that program. Actually, they told us that this is one of the most common ways for the extraterrestrials to enter a human experience.
Wow.
And why? Because it guarantees their return. You can come back. I mean, you can come here as a human being, just incarnating in a normal way, like from the source. You die there, and then you come being a human. But there is more risk here. And one of those risks is what we're talking about in the beginning, that this is a sort of a place where your attention, your soul's attention, could be diverted, could be trapped, but not because really there are bars here holding you. It's because it's such a powerful and intense experience to be here, and your attention does get trapped in a way. It could. So there is a danger. And in the immersion technology, there is a guarantee that when you die, you will always wake up in the pod. So a lot, if not most, extraterrestrials who come into the human experience, they use this technology.
They want
Pretty
to
cool.
make sure it's a one and done sort of thing. They don't they don't want to get caught in the
Yeah.
cycle because it's like that. It's like it's not. It doesn't have bars on it, but it's a lot like walking into someone who is watching the news right when 9/11 happens, right? And their eyes are so pilled on the screen. You're like,
Yes.
hey, over here, and they're not going to see you because their thoughts have sort of their attention has been captured, if you will. So that's the capture. It's our attention being captured, not being surrounded by bars or chains, if
Yeah.
you will.
In the beginning, 4 years ago or so, where Svaru was still around, she wrote this. She used to write these big articles, and one of these articles she wrote about clones and how the reptilians and those regressive races, they have some kind of underground basis where they are keeping souls, or I don't remember exactly. It was a long time ago, but you see, this is the important point here. They're not keeping soul like in jars. They're like glass jars with keeping souls, like this trapped. No, they have some sort of attention trapping device, some kind of technology where they're actually keeping their attention, diverting their signal into other avatars. Now you have to go back to that video. It's about clones, something in a subterranean basis.
That was
But
a few years ago, wasn't it? That's a really good
long
one.
time ago,
Yeah.
yeah. But that's exactly how it's done. The soul cannot be trapped. It's as a signal of source. How do you
Right.
trap it? How do you do that? No, it's what it is. It's a mental trap. A soul is just a bundle of ideas that you have created for yourself across incarnations. That's what you are. That's all. Bundle of ideas within the field of the potential energy that is source. That is you. That cannot be trapped. But it can be trapped if I wave something in front of you. Look here. Look. Shane, look right there. And you're looking. And that's it. That moment of you looking, that's where you diverted the attention, and that's where they trap you.
Absolutely. Yeah, they even said that there's technically not even a soul in the way we think of it. Like this, being that's walking around without the flesh suit on, if you will. It's just the idea. It's like a way, kind of like timelines. It's a way for us to discuss something, but it's not even real. It's like just because our language is so limited, we have to come up
Exactly.
with a way to describe things, and that's useful. But timelines, souls, none of these things are even they even exist in the way we think. They're just ideas that
Yeah,
help us
exactly.
explain.
Yes, they don't even like that term soul because it has so many religious connotations and whatever. So now
Yeah.
they used to say Adma. Now, yes, he likes to say Katra. Apparently, Katra is some kind of a word that is used within the Federation races. And it's a word, Katra, Katra. And it's a word used for that we refer to as a soul.
Right.
Because here it's just so religious, soul. So it's just terms, equivalents. They have to use something within our linguistic range to communicate with us, but many times they are just close equivalents, and these things in themselves, I mean, their nature is much different from how we perceive it.
So it's just almost like who we've been, the memories, and the ideas we have about who we are in the various lifetimes kind of follow us along through the
Yeah.
different incarnations. But it's not so much even a body there. It's just the
Yes.
information, right?
Yes, the information, conscious and unconscious, because that is being carried over as well, somewhere within you. And written and registered within your DNA. And let me just tell you here that we are just working on the topic of DNA with Yaski right now. It's like taking a long time because it's a lot of questions to go into, but it's going to be published at some point soon. And we are discussing all this, how all this information that is carried through incarnations is contained within our DNA. It's like a registry of everything we have been, and well, it was with a certain limits, everything, because everything, that means everything, like, trees, rocks, and there's like, but it is basically a registry of who you are. But I don't want to say more right now because it's still a bit disorganized in my mind. I have to make a transcript from that and make a video, but it's going to come up soon.
That's going to be very exciting. Is there any telltale signs that we're in one of these pods? Like, is anything different for someone in the pod and not in the pod? Like a little indication that you're like, oh my gosh, I am in the pod because of such and such.
They told us that there isn't really much to indicate for you if you are in the pod or not. But Aneka once said that as some people said to her who are in the pod, the experience seems to be a bit less real. Like, you can just feel that there's something not real. You are there, but you are not there. That was like the only indication. And that was how it was with me as well. I felt like I feel I'm here, but I'm not here. It's very difficult to explain. Like, you are here, but like you are within the game, and like it's some sort of a virtual game, but you know you are playing. It's just that here you forgot that you are playing, but there is a part of you that still knows on some level. Mm-hmm. So maybe
but we wanted to forget, right? I mean, yes, it changes the experience completely when you can like sort of start fresh and start with a clean slate and sort of see if you can find your way back out, right? It's like, do you see it as a game or an adventure? Is that how?
I do see it as an adventure, of course. And I do see it as a game, as an adventure. It doesn't mean that it's not a hard game and sad. Let me just pause for a second. I want to go back to this. Yes, but then something about you said about the pod, just to finish that. Generally, there is no indication, okay, if you are in the pod or not, because the experience is as real as if you were here in another way. Because they told us, okay, the technology of entering is different, but the experience is as real as if you entered through the source, incarnating in a different way. Because they said it doesn't even matter how you enter, technologically or not, the experience is the same. It doesn't make your experience any less valuable or real or enriching. It will still affect you and be there with you, and is as important as you make it to be. Mm-hmm. So just because you enter through a technological way, this is an important point, it doesn't make it any less real or important. And something else I was going to say on that, but I forgot. So let's fast forward now to the other question, which was, is it a game for me or adventure? Yes. Mm-hmm. But not because I came here in the immersion. That doesn't make it a game for me. A game, an adventure.
It's a state of mind is what I was referring to, right?
Yes, because it is just a way of coming in. But just because you are there in a outside Earth and you have been incarnated as a Pleiadian without technology of immersion, you are still within the field of a matrix. Matrix meaning not matrix like on Earth with our system and controlling cabal, but matrix meaning, physicality, the game of experiencing life through different expressions. It is still a manifestation and projection of the mind. And that's what makes it a game aspect here. It's the mind, playing all these different variants and possibilities with itself and scenarios. Mm-hmm. And yes, you forget. And that's what makes the game real and super realistic and hard and sad, and you feel like you are suffering. But your mind, from the expanded point of view, it knows what it's doing, and it's doing what it's doing because of what it's doing. Right. With various reasons here, personal reasons for your soul to be doing what it's doing. but it is an adventure. For me, life is an adventure, whether it is through the immersion pod or, or not.
Yeah.
It's all just an adventure of the mind. It's a play field for your mind, life in general.
Well, I thought it'd be good to hear that from you because, that contrasts the idea of being in a prison. It's like, you can either feel like you're just limited and you can't do anything, or you can feel like it's an adventure and I can do anything. And it's like I'm on this road of discovery and unlimiting myself, really, and, getting rid of all these limiting beliefs, right?
Yes, and many of these limitations, or the so-called limitations, are within the collective agreements of things. So, for example, if you are in a physical world where you cannot cross walls, where, for example, Yaski is telling us in the video how she does to cross walls, because she can cross walls, and she told us how, by crossing the line here of the idea and belief that there is matter. There is no matter. For her, matter and non-matter is the same thing. Astral, non-astral, it's all mind. It's just the same. But you have to watch the video to understand that point. So my point is here that, okay, so if you are born in the physical realm, for example, Earth or Pleiades, wherever, there is a collective agreement in that realm that states that you cannot cross walls. Like, this is something, you cannot do. So these are different parameters of the game of the mind that the mind from the higher level imposed on itself to have a certain experience. It wanted to have that so-called limited experience.
Exactly.
For a reason, because on the other side, it can do anything. So now it wanted to, have a different experience of within itself. Why not? Because it can. That's it. And from our perspective, that's where the contradicting views come in here. From our perspective, it seems limiting, and we are suffering, and all that, and we are so sad, and this and that. But from that other perspective, that's not how it's viewed. The interests change according to the perspective of the soul. Each level of your soul and being has different interests and agendas for its experience. So you have to always keep that in mind and trust that soul, that it knows what it's doing. Even if you feel you are having some kind of a limiting experience or whatever, but I do trust that my soul chose this for a reason and it knows what it's doing and it's benefiting from it in some way. It is. Yeah. Us not remembering that's what makes it so sad.
Right.
But that's also part of the agreement.
That makes it more intense, right? Because we think, my gosh, I can die and I'm so limited and this is all I've got, this one life, right? You only live once, right? Which is kind of true, but you never die, right? So it's like, I don't know.
It wouldn't be as fun as if you thought that, you are immortal forever and you can do this and you can do that and you can. It's like, for example, I always say this is a perfect example. I've always wanted to sign up to the Survivor show. Always. I even tried. I even made some kind of a casting call, but I was never chosen because I like to challenge myself. I like to go into limiting experiences to like kind of, see what I'm made of, to get to know my potential. How can you know what you are made of and what your potential is if you do not stick yourself into some sort of a situation where you have to use that? You don't even know you have something, a certain quality, if you don't put yourself in the situation. So the soul, from that more expanded level, it always wants to expand. It wants to know its limits. It wants to know what it can do within this unlimited field of potentiality of itself. So in order to experience that, it needs to self-impose certain limitation in order to see how far it can reach, how far it can get, how far it can go, what it can experience, what can you create despite the limitations.
Oh,
Challenge.
I love it. That's great. Very good information.
That's why I love this game of life, because of all this.
Is there any information that was hard to swallow for you? Like, what was the hardest thing to swallow for you? Like, was there anything that was kind of hard to accept that came through?
Yeah. First difficult topic for me was the topic of the Federation, where it was explained that there actually it doesn't actually work. Like, I always imagine them as some sort of a league of light warriors fighting for the liberation of the human race. And it's actually not like that. It's full of bureaucrats and full of interests and agendas, factions, political groups fighting with one another, levels. And some of these levels are actually in cooperation with the hidden levels within the human control system.
Yeah.
And it's not as pretty as I always idealistically envisioned that it is about the Federation. So I was disappointed because I always imagined them, these light warriors with a sword, on a white horse, and they are here to protect us.
Right.
And in some ways they do that. Again, here we are coming into the contradicting views. In some ways they are doing that. They are the managers of this planet, absolute ultimate controllers of the planet as well, even though from the other side, we, the humans, are the ultimate controllers. Another topic. So anyway, on the one hand, they are helping, they are doing things, they are monitoring and whatever, but on the other hand, they are not, if viewed from the interest of the street level of the humans, because the interests there, from their perspective, are a bit different.
Doesn't it come back to us like kind of deifying them though, and not thinking of them as real people? Like,
yeah, I did.
That's still that same thing, right? It's that same programming extending into the fact that we just imagine they're going to be perfect, and that there's not going to be issues there too. But there is issues at all of these levels.
But you see, that's the problem. This is the picture that it's being painted of them, and it's actually continuing to happen within the New Age circles, who are infiltrated by the CIAs and other organizations. Many of them actually even linked to the Federation. Well, maybe not exactly. Actually, that's another topic. More to the cabal side of things on Earth.
Right.
But the picture is painted of them. It's so beautiful, like they are the saviors and protectors of the humanity, and it's not as black and white. I'm not saying that they are not doing good job here and there, yes, but it's not as black and white. And yes, I have been duped also with this idea of them being so perfect and these saviors and beautiful beings on a white horse. And so I was disappointed because I felt like part of me got lost. I felt so attached to that ideal vision of helping humans and liberation and all that. So I felt like I lost part of me because I lost that. But so that was hard. And also, to be honest, the whole topic on veganism was also difficult because later in the beginning, Swaruunian was telling us, because they are vegans, Taygetans. Swaruunian was a total vegan. She almost actually didn't eat nothing. Another story there. So she was teaching that also to us. But the thing is that in the time, the Taygetans and Swaruunian also have discovered that here on Earth, we have different needs as humans. So actually some people, if not all, but at least some people do need to eat meat. And it's nothing to do with them being against animal suffering. It's a totally different subject. They hate that animals are suffering. It's a difficult, controversial subject that we didn't actually publish for a few years because we were a bit afraid to shake the waters here. Like, we didn't know. We thought this is too controversial. We didn't want to go into that. And it was difficult for me too, because actually when that topic came out, when they told us, I was not total vegan, but I was vegetarian. So it was difficult for me as well.
Gosh, I'd have to say there's been a few things here and there, nothing too bad, but most recently was the LED lights, the LED lights.
Oh, I love LED.
It's like, no, I got LEDs everywhere.
I know. Me too. I was just, I would show you. I have LED lights just above me right now, but
yeah.
I don't want to move my camera because.
Oh, right. And the camera's looking great, by the way. Awesome.
Yeah, thanks. So listen, when I lived in Barcelona and I used to share my flat with Robert at the time, actually, so we had the entire flat with LED lights. There was no one single bulb in the apartment, and we had different colors. I had the bathroom in purple. I had my bedroom in blue. red, white. So I was disappointed too. But by the way, for the people who don't know what we are talking about, the LED lights are actually very bad for you, and they disturb your cardiac. What's the word?
Mm-hmm.
Now?
Cicada rhythm,
Yeah,
to help you
that's
go to
the
sleep
rhythm.
or whatever, your sleep cycles and stuff. Yeah.
And actually, that happened to me as soon as I came to Finland, which was after a year of living with those LED lights. Uh, I couldn't go to sleep for hours. I started to have this insomnia I couldn't fall asleep. And I think it had to do with those LED lights. But don't worry about it, because there are a lot of different types of lights that are also nice,
Mm-hmm.
but are not LED. I think I have to investigate. I haven't got into it yet.
Right, yeah, and I just try to make sure I get plenty of sun and I don't have them on while I'm trying to sleep, I guess right now, because every light bulb I have is an LED light, so it's like, oh my gosh. But yeah, that's the main thing, and it's like even all my kids, their room is all lined in LED lights. I mean, from like the corners and the walls and everything, and so I'm like, oh gosh, it's like, and you can feel like the strain if they make it strobe or do some of the color effects, it can feel kind of intense on your eyes and
It
your.
does. And I heard that in the US, it's going to be illegal to buy any other bulb if it's not LED. Is that true?
Oh, I don't know, but I can see because they're very economical. They work for a fraction of the cost of a incandescent light bulb. So I can see
Yeah,
them doing that and that's what they're putting up for the street lights now. Most of our
yeah.
cities, some of them are putting out the black light, blue, looking light. They call black light here.
Mm.
But I think they're malfunctioning. But yeah, they're swapping out a lot of that stuff. I did want to end this. I want to be respectful of your time. It's actually getting kind of late there in Finland, isn't it?
It's okay. No, I go to sleep very late.
Oh yeah,
This
that's
is not.
right. You put a video out at like 3 in the morning for me or something. So I had a piece of a video I wanted to share because just as an example of the types of wonderful nuggets of information that they can find on your channel. So I found this video about star seeds. A lot of people, are in the star seed community here. So I wanted to play this little bitty clip, and hopefully I won't cry. I got my water ready. My friend Sarah Walsh says if you're going to cry while you're on your stream, you just drink a little water and it makes you stop crying. So, but
Oh,
it's a powerful clip here. Let me switch here. Are you able to see that now?
it's loading. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. You should be able to hear it too.
Oh, yeah, I
As I
love that.
always say, and will always say, the only thing that limits you is your idea that you are limited. So, you are your own limit. Your decision how large and powerful you want and will be. Even under a collective unconscious, you are the one who accepts it, buys into it, and adopts it. Because you can understand it, all what surrounds you, your people, your environment, and your own mind. You are always the one who controls it. You are a stellar being. You are source, not even a fragment of source. I mean source itself. All others are just you in other clothes. And all the schisms in your world are product of your own fears. Scary things will always be there. But you become fearless as soon as you choose not to fall into them and keep on living and keep on being happy and enjoying every single moment of your life. If you want to be someone unique and truly powerful, then you must learn to think for yourself and dare not follow the crowd. Then you will be limitless. Feeling small and vulnerable is the illusion. Your mind and soul is what makes you great. Independent thought is true power. You are already alive, so be fearless and go out there and make a dent in the universe. Choose with who you associate with. Choose the fearless and the independent thinkers. Be wise to yourself. And overall, trust that what you see as wise is the correct way to go for yourself, not caring what others think. Be true to yourself before anything else. Be loving, be gentle, be fearless, and go on.
How awesome is that? I came across this video. I hadn't seen it yet, Gosia, and when I did, I was like, oh my gosh, that would be a great clip to include. You know, to give people a little taste of how encouraging and why I particularly gravitate towards the metaphysical, spiritual information, because it's so empowering, opposed to waiting for a savior or something, right? It's like realizing that we have the power and we can get active in our own adventure, like you said. So thank you so much for coming on here. It's been great. It's been 4 years and we've grown so much. And is there anything else that you got coming up that you want to mention while you're here?
I just want to say first, thank you for bringing up that clip, because I really liked it, and it took me a while to actually find a right video for it. I did, when I found that guy.
Oh, it's so perfect.
It's so perfect. And it was in a moment where, in that situation in the world, it was happening. Mm-hmm. And we were actually inspiring people to be active and to be disobedient and not to follow and just think for yourself. So that was especially accurate for that moment, but it's accurate for every moment of your life as well. So I'm very happy you brought it up again, because I love that scene. I love that scene very much. So no, that's it. We are just I'm working on the new series, which is going to be about 16 videos or maybe more on interstellar life, just different aspects of the ship life, life on the ships. Toleka will be described in detail, different missions they go on. So that's going to be really cool. Around 16 videos distributed little by little here and there. I'm actually right now working on the first one, which is going to be Toleka, describing Toleka spaceship. I mean their ship in detail. And then also we are working with Robert and Yaski on DNA subject, which is going to be very important as well. I took questions from the public about this as well. So I can promise you will enjoy that video very much, I think. And I have a lot of other things in preparation, and
I'm sure you do. You've been really busy. 400 and something videos. And that's just the English channel. You have a bunch on your Spanish channel. Have you already covered this stuff on your Spanish channel, the DNA and all of that you're working on the English channel?
No. This is all. We are working on this with Yaski and Robert in Spanish, right? Because Robert doesn't speak English, so we do this in Spanish. So no, it's not published yet in neither of the channels. I have to make the transcript, which also takes a while because I have to put it together. It's always direct. It's their words, word by word, but I have to put it together because sometimes, there are sentences that don't go in order, blah, blah. So, and then I have to translate it into English. So that's something I don't like to do, translations.
Oh, man, that sounds like a lot of work. And you've got all the transcripts. You've taken the time to put all the transcripts on a website. I actually linked that website below as well. So if anybody wants to just look up, if you want to search certain topics, I think Matthias brought it up earlier, you could just search a certain topic and it would bring up, on the website. Or, I always search under your videos. You can type, I like to type in mini topics because there's so many little things that you cover as well that are in each video, you might have 5 or 6 things that you cover. And those are super interesting too. So a lot of interesting information. And I did link that, the Starseed video that I just played the clip of, you guys. That's linked below too. Please watch the whole thing. The whole thing is great. It's inspiring, a lot of information. So.
And I just want to say also thank you to Matthias, because he's the one uploading the transcripts. I edit them and I send it to him, and he does the final edit. He still finds some typos here and there. So he uploads all this, and he also uploads the translations. I think altogether there are about over 1,000 translations of different transcripts into different languages, and he uploads those as well. So that's a lot of work. And he's working and going to school. So he's doing this in his free time. But thank you, Matthias.
Yes, thank you. And thank you to everybody, because I know it's a labor of love for a lot of people that do the voices and things like that. So thank you to everyone who's participated in helping to get this information out. And it's been awesome. It's been an awesome ride. And I'm looking forward to anything you put out in the future.
Thanks, and let's meet more often. If you have something to discuss, again, let's not wait for another 4 years.
Right. A lot's happened. You've even been on Gaia TV since then, so it's like, wow.
Yeah, that happened. Yeah, yeah, one season. Yeah, it happened. Let's see what else. Let's see, but we can catch up more often.
Absolutely, the future's bright, you guys. So thank you all for being here in the chat, and until next time. Thank you, Gosia. Lots of love, light, and unity. We'll see you on the next one, guys. Peace.